Welcome to the HEARTS Entwined podcast. In this podcast, we'll be having discussions around the secrets which attract lasting, healthy, fulfilling relationships, creating a healthy mindset, and what women should know and understand about men. Introducing your host, Lyn Smith, the Queen of Hearts, relationship expert, trainer, speaker, and best-selling author of the Cupid's Bow technique. Lyn's mission is to have a positive impact in reducing divorce, domestic violence, and suicide.
Welcome to the HEARTS Entwined podcast. This is your host, Lyn Smith, the Queen of Hearts. Okay, so in this episode, I'm going to be talking about how to save your relationship. This can be quite a tricky subject to discuss and speak about with women, because quite often we have the totally opposite responses to what actually is required in this situation. And that's purely because, we're trying to think, or not trying to think, we are thinking like a woman rather than knowing, internally what's going on for our man most of the times in this situation. So we're responding how we would as women, and then finding and we're not getting the result we wanted. So what actually do you need to do, if you're in a situation whereby your husband or partner has suddenly said that they need a break, or, the relationship they feel has come to an end, or there's been an argument and there's been a bit of a separation. How do you cope with that situation to ensure you get the best result? If actually saving your relationship is what you truly want from that scenario. Well, I've dealt with this quite a few times with various women that I've mentored and coached around this very topic. And I can tell you, for me, what has achieved the best results. And it's not necessarily what you think or what you're going to feel comfortable with if you're considering how to implement this for yourself in order to achieve a positive result on the back of it. So the first question I'd ask you is the relationship worth saving to start with? Do you truly believe that this man is a good man? Answer that question honestly, first of all. You've got to feel that this relationship has got the potential to be a really great, healthy, fulfilling relationship to start with, that's going to be good for you both. It's no good if one of you is out of flow with that, in terms of, you're the one that's more invested. You can't have that being the situation. There needs to be, from his perspective, more investment or equal investment from him for this to work for you. So, really consider, is this relationship really a relationship that's got the potential to be really healthy and fulfilling going forward? And if you're at the moment more invested in that relationship, then you've got to weigh up, the fact that you're probably needing to give yourself a lot more self-care than what you've been currently giving. You really only get over-invested in a relationship if you're not giving to yourself first. So look at that being a factor. Look at how you maybe been neglecting your own needs and well-being, and more prioritizing his and being invested more in him than what you need to be in order to create a healthy relationship. So the next question is once you've sort of thought that through and thought to yourself, yes, maybe, I am in a situation where I've not really been looking after or taking responsibility for my own health and well-being, and I need to focus on that and start getting more into hobbies and interests that are solely for me, and start looking at doing things that are going to really fill me up as regards topping up that self-care cup. That's one of the first things to think about. And the other one, as I say, is it worth saving think about, and answer it honestly, is this relationship worth saving? And do I really believe that I've got a good man potentially here? And do you still feel that he has feelings for you? Because you'll know in your heart if he genuinely does have those feelings for you, but he's just not currently feeling what has been there previously. So if you feel you've ticked all those, that the relationship is worth saving, and you have acknowledged maybe that you need to take a step back and focus a little bit on you and your well-being and your self-care, and you do feel that he still loves you and he's a good man, then what I am going to tell you is maybe surprising in how you handle this situation. Because actually, when we're feeling that our relationship is potentially over, but we want to rescue it and save it, and we know that there's, good, strong, healthy feelings, involved potentially with this other person, how do you turn things around when you're going through a bad patch, or you've potentially had a bit of a breakup? And for women, what I need to advise you to do is actually give him space. Because our immediate reaction normally is the opposite to that, because that's what we do as women. This is not how men think. As women, we want to, share and find out what's going on for him, and, get to the root of his feelings. And we feel that, if we're not connected to him, then he's going to forget about us and all those things. And that's not the case, because that's just us thinking as women. What he actually needs in this situation is that break, that time to be away from you, to miss you, is what's going to ultimately make him want to get back in touch and reach out and rekindle your relationship. If you're the one that's doing the chasing rather than allowing him to do the chasing, then all you're going to do is make him want to pull away even more. So it's crucial that I get this point across, and really stress that, men just need that time out now and again in our relationships, regardless of how long you've been together. You could have been together weeks, months, years, or decades, but there are going to be times when your man may be feeling a bit smothered or need time out, and that's just part and parcel of his natural intimacy and connection rhythm. It doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. So the best gift you can ever give to a man is to give him that space and to give him that time to really miss you not being in his life, and wonder what you're up to now that he's not seeing you, and wonder, who you might be speaking to in his absence, and really get him to think about what it is in the relationship that attracted him to you in the first place. And he's only going to feel and miss those things if you give him that time and space away. So how much is enough time and space away? Well, believe it or not, you can even leave it a couple of weeks. That sounds like a long time. If you're recently in a situation where you've only just literally had probably a fight or a bust up, or in the first hours or days of being apart, and the temptation is to be the first one to make a move. As the feminine in your relationship, I would advise resist doing that. If you are tempted to, and I know you will be, connect with him, then all I can suggest is you put things in place, such as, speak to a girlfriend instead as an option, Or you can send it, you can not send, but write those messages that you want to send to him, but not actually send them. So in other words, write down in a journal or in a notebook or on a scrap piece of paper anything you want to get off your chest, anything that you'd like to say to him if you was actually going to send a message, but don't send it. And don't put it in a position whereby you do it on your phone or in an email because you could accidentally send it. I don't want that to be your excuse. So I want you to, think about ways that you can say what you want to say, whether that's on a Word document, as I say, discussing it with a trusted girlfriend, without actually sending that communication, and allow him to be the one that communicates with you. And if for some reason after a couple of weeks that doesn't happen, then my advice would be to then, it could be the right time to send a message around something that's going to make him remember and miss what he had with you. So it might be that you've recently saw a trailer to a particular film that you've both previously seen, and you could say that it reminded you of him, and know that, for you, that's going to trigger a positive memory of something he's done with you that you've both shared that was portrayed in this particular film, for example. But prior to that, keep your distance, allow him to have that freedom and to feel that emotion of missing you as his woman in his life before you actually do make that move. I can guarantee 9 times out of 10, he will connect with you before you ever need to send that message after a couple of weeks, and that reminder of something that will be, as I say, something like a film that will remind him of you. So for men, it would be the opposite, because women want to feel, that you're prepared to fight for the relationship. And quite often men think like men in this situation. They think the reverse, that they need to give you space and time. So if you're a man listening to this and you are in this situation where, the relationship is at a point where it needs rescuing, it needs to be saved, then show your woman how much she means to you. Show her that you're prepared to fight for that relationship. So it's really the opposite advice I'm giving to men is, if you know that woman still has feelings for you, and that, that woman has the potential to create a great, healthy, loving relationship with you going forward, show her that you're prepared to do anything to win her over again, and, that you're willing to prove yourself worthy of fighting for that relationship. And quite often we get this all muddled completely around the wrong way. Women are the ones that usually end up trying to fight for the relationship, which makes the men want to distance themselves even more. And men are usually the ones that back off when really we're looking to see that you're willing to fight for that relationship. So hence, the confusion over how each of the sexes misunderstands the other one. So men, you need to fight for the relationship and show your woman that she's the one for you and you're willing to do anything for her. And women, you need to give the men the space and the freedom and the time to really miss you, and give him that time to make that first move. And my advice would be to at least give that 2 weeks. And I know that can be a heck of a long time, but trust me, trust this process. It really does work. I've never known this advice to fail in this situation. So please take it on board, have the faith, believe in me, trust the process, And I wish you all the best if you're in this situation where you want to save your relationship. And let me know how you get on, with taking that advice. I would love to get the feedback because I know from working with others that this works, and you will get the result you want. So that's going to be it for this particular episode. I just want to finally say, always remember that true love starts with opening our hearts. And until next time, goodbye for now.
Thanks for listening to the HEARTS Entwined podcast. You can follow Lyn via the Facebook group To HEARTS Entwined, or search Lyn Smith, inspirational speaker, at LinkedIn, or email lyn@hearts-entwined.com. That's LYN@hearts-entwined.com. Remember, true love starts with opening our hearts.